We begin today's wrestling news and rumors video with a bit of news regarding Queen Zelina Vega. Now, as some of you are likely aware, Zelina Vega has been noticeably missing from WWE television for several weeks now, and there had been no word on Queen Zelina's status in WWE, while she was essentially removed from TV and when she would be coming back. However, we thankfully have some news and updates regarding Queen Zelina Vega in WWE. And Zelina's leave from WWE thankfully is not for any particularly bad reason, like WWE not having any plans for her or considering releasing her again, although it isn't great news nonetheless. According to one of our sources, the main reason why Zelina Vega has suddenly disappeared from WWE television over the last several weeks is because Zelina suffered an injury during a match a while back and needed to get surgery. As of right now, it is being speculated that Zelina will be out of action for another 6 to 8 weeks, which means that in all likelihood, Zelina Vega could be returning to WWE sometime around SummerSlam 2022, if all things go according to plan. Zelina was last seen in WWE on the April 11th edition of Monday Night Raw, where she faced off against Bianca Belair, so perhaps this injury Zelina is dealing with right now was caused during that match. Hopefully Vega's recovery from this injury goes well, and she is back in WWE within the expected time frame of her return, which is about 6 to 8 weeks as of this video. Regardless, with WWE being extremely quick these days to release superstars, it is good to know that the reason for Zelina's sudden leave is because of an injury and not because WWE lost interest in utilizing her. Because while an injury is definitely bad news for sure, many fans would have definitely been very upset if WWE once again let Zelina Vega go, like they did back in November 2020, as Zelina has a lot of potential and a very strong fan base as well. As most of you are likely well aware, Mustafa Ali publicly requested his release from WWE on social media at the beginning of the year in January 2022, and while the requested release was inevitably denied by WWE, Ali certainly made headlines at the time for publicly announcing something like this and getting fans involved in the real-life issues between WWE and himself. However, WWE clearly felt like agreeing to Ali's release was a bad idea, and that Mustafa is a superstar that they value enough to keep around on their roster. And in late April 2022, Mustafa Ali returned on Monday Night Raw, and has been featured on the show quite heavily since his comeback. Now, in a recent interview, Mustafa Ali basically clarified why he decided to make his whole WWE release request public to fans, and here's what Ali had to say. Quote, "I believe private conversations are meant to be private. The reason it went public is because that private conversation went nowhere. Anyone that truly knows me, I know there is a portion of the audience that was like, how unprofessional. Anyone that has ever worked with me, dealt with me as a human, knows how much I love this place, how much I love sports entertainment, how much I love wrestling. This is the only thing I want to do. For me to even get to that point, that's the issue. Everyone is judging the action, they are not judging the intention behind the action. Imagine how much it would take for me to try and leave. That's a conversation and the hot topic. There are situations that I can't publicly discuss, but that's what I want to say about the whole issue. The only reason it got to that point is because there was no other option. It's incredible the things you'll do when your back is against the wall and you're fighting for survival. I wouldn't have done something unless I believe in it. I will stand by the choice I made. I did what I had to do. For those that don't know, I went on a little sabbatical. Always flip it, try to look at the positive things. It wasn't intentional, but one huge positive was, my youngest daughter was born in November, and I got to be home for the full process. My other 2 kids, I was there, but not there every day because I was doing tours. It wasn't the intention, but I was there for the whole thing. Let us know your thoughts on Mustafa Ali going public with his release request from WWE earlier this year, after feeling like no progress was being made when things were kept private with WWE, and overall, how do you feel Ali has been treated by WWE since his return in April? By all means, Mustafa Ali has not won a whole lot of matches on Monday Night Raw since coming back, but at least he is appearing on the show pretty regularly. With Roman Reigns unifying the WWE and Universal Championships following his win over Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 38, and then the Usos just recently unifying the Raw and SmackDown Tag Team Championships after defeating RK Bro, This has not surprisingly caused there to be a ton of new speculation right now regarding WWE possibly soon planning to unify the company's other championships. In this case, the United States Championship and the Intercontinental Championship, with Theory and Ricochet currently being the respective champions. Now, there has been some huge rumors going around right now that WWE are essentially getting rid of the brand split concept in the ways that matter, with Raw superstars going to be appearing on SmackDown freely and vice versa. And with this now being the case and WWE not really having permanent rosters for each brand, not to mention WWE already unifying the world and tag team titles, it would definitely make sense for WWE to be planning to unify the company's mid-card championships, the US and Intercontinental titles. By all means, a lot of fans have recently been voicing their concerns over the way WWE have been treating their mid-card titles lately, with lots feeling like WWE have made the US and Intercontinental Championships feel pretty worthless or irrelevant, and there is a good chance that WWE is aware of the pretty low reputation of their mid-card titles in the eyes of fans right now, and could be planning something huge to once again drum up some interest with these belts. Quite interestingly, WWE Raw commentator Corey Graves just talked about the idea or potential scenario of WWE unifying the US and Intercontinental Championships on his After the Bell podcast, and here's what Corey had to say on the matter. Quote, "I want to talk about what's on everybody's mind right now this week, that being all the gold in the WWE now belongs to the Bloodline. All of the gold meaning Universal World title, and now the Unified Tag Team Champions. Vic, I'm just going to come out right now and say it. I think it is time. I think it is beyond time. I think we take the final step. I think we need to unify the United States and Intercontinental Championships as well." Here's another noteworthy comment from Corey Graves on this whole idea. Quote, "Having the champions float to me it freshens everything up. It makes everything more important because there's less of them, supply and demand. If there's only a handful of titles, the titles all become more valuable. I think it's high time we do this." Now, according to a new backstage rumor, Vince McMahon is legitimately considering the idea of unifying the United States and Intercontinental Championships next. And if that is going to happen, one of our sources has revealed that it would most likely be the US champion Theory who defeats the Intercontinental champion Ricochet to unify the titles, seeing as though Theory is an up-and-coming superstar that Vince McMahon sees massive potential in, while Ricochet was never really a guy that Vince thought had a lot of potential in WWE. So it would most likely be Theory getting the win over Ricochet in a title unification match, and officially unifying the Intercontinental and United States Championships. And let us know your thoughts on this whole idea, and does it make sense in your opinion? Without question, Ezekiel has continued to gain traction with fans on Monday Night Raw, with Elias' younger brother really getting a great opportunity to shine in WWE while Elias is away, while at the same time definitely causing Kevin Owens to nearly lose his mind each week on Raw. The Ezekiel and Kevin Owens storyline on Raw has been one of the highlights of the show every week, and fans are really getting into the whole Ezekiel storyline, and it is going to be reaching a breaking point at the upcoming Hell in a Cell 2022 event when Ezekiel faces off against Kevin Owens in a must-see match. However, while Ezekiel continues to claim to be Elias' younger brother, there is a shocking backstage rumor going around right now that WWE may be throwing fans a huge swerve in the storyline angle in the near future, and that Elias may be returning to Raw in the coming weeks and announcing that Ezekiel is not actually his brother, and that the two sadly aren't even related, and that Ezekiel has been misguided this whole time. Now, of course, this would be done to further get under Kevin Owens' skin, and if this rumor does come true, it would definitely be a very intriguing swerve to the Ezekiel storyline that few fans would see coming.